On the night of the 26th of February, 2023, President Biden called on his most elite force, the Florida Boys, to conduct a raid and ultimately serve justice to the country's most feared child predator, the sand predator. Earlier this year, the sand predator conducted violent strikes against a Malaysian factory worker known as Dolphin and a Pokemon League crackhead known as Bread. Our heroic operators were spun into action and immediately started training under guidance of the esteemed Syrian Civil War veteran Louis J. Upon completion of this intense and rigorous training, a 7-week operation ensued, ultimately resulting in the elimination of the sand predator from the playoffs. The sand predator leaves behind his sugar mama Natalie, his hot sister Victoria, and her crusty 50-year-old boyfriend. The following operators will be recognized for all eternity through their code names: Circle, Stein, Shadow, Lil Thomas, Woozy.
What's going on, y'all? This is going to be the Week 7 Super Show. We've got Dress Down on. Sandy is nowhere to be seen. Last I heard, he's still sleeping. Natalie tried waking him up. No avail. So we're just going to go into it. We can't wait around any longer. I want you guys to look over at the power rankings. This week we have Thomas in first place for the second week in a row. Copy's right behind him, 5 points. They're still both perfect going into the last week of the regular season. Manny right behind them with 10 points in third place, and then Blotto right behind him, 13 points in fourth place. Stein out of left field in fifth place. I think the voters are really seeming to like the fit of Annihilate on his team. And we all know his playoff pedigree. He tends to run the tables, sometimes with hacks. I don't know, though. He has a team this year, though. His moves don't tend to miss. Then Dress Down right behind Stein, 18 points in sixth place. Also trying to run the tables here, although she's doing it without really adjusting her team. Seventh, we've got Circle at 20 points. Sand has crept back into the picture. He's at 26 points and 8th place. Inner Warrior also back in the picture. When he's in, 28 points. Braves controls his own destiny. 29 points, potentially en route to another playoff appearance. Woozy also, he needs help. He's in. Stein lost. Woozy number 11, 31 points. Air Chomp still not eliminated either, 37 points. Drew somehow not eliminated, 13th place, 38 points. Beast, Dolphin, Bread, all eliminated, don't really care about them. Dress Down's going to go into the more refined playoff picture.
Indeed, yeah. So y'all have an idea based on really, I think a lot of the, when people were voting for power rankings this week, they were thinking about the way, the whether or not people were actually going to be able to be in playoffs, and that shows. So for the Scarlet Division, Copy and Blade are both walks. There's nothing they can do. They can get 6-0'd, and everyone who could even threaten them could win 6-0s, and they are still in playoffs. Near lock is me. Specifically, since I won against Drew last week, but it was only a 1-0, so I have opened the door to where if I get 6-0'd by Copy and then Inner Warrior 6-0's Braves, I'm out. I'm not going to call that likely, but it is a scenario in which I lose playoffs. Braves versus Inner Warrior, both of them, if they win, they are in playoffs. It's very simple. You can win by 1, you can win by 6-0. It does not matter for your standing. If you beat the other person, you are in playoffs. Last but not least, we've got Drew and Air Chomp, and both of them need a very specific scenario to rise here. I'd say it's less likely for Drew than it is for Eric. So both of them need Inner Warrior to win, which knocks Braves completely out of contention. Then, both of them, but they also need Inner Warrior to not get a ton of differential either. But then they also need to win their matches by really big margins. So I think Air Chomp has a decent chance of this. If he gets, poor Beast, his third 6-0, or rather 0-6 against somebody, if Eric manages to do that, and Inner Warrior wins, there's odds that he makes it into playoffs more or less. Especially if I lose as well, then it makes much better odds for either of them. Drew, same odds, but he has to beat Bleedle, which I'm going to, spoiler for later, I'm going to say is maybe a different calculation than Air Chomp versus Beast. And last but not least is Beast. And Beast could play the best game of his life and 6-0 his opponent in Eric here and not make it into playoffs. So better next season, or the duo. You're not in the duos tourney, but at some point it was a fun season in a lot of ways, but better next time. Otherwise, in the Violet division, we have 2 locks of Little Timmy and Manny. Both of them are in regardless of what they do. And we have a near lock here in Circle. Again, he could lose it under a specific set of circumstances. And so the way it would kind of work is if Circle loses badly by 5 or 6-0, he opens himself up to losing on differential if Sand wins by a really big margin or if Woozy wins by a really big margin. Secondly, Stein, if he wins his game, he is in unless that Woozy has a massive 6-0 differential win against Sand. And then he's knocked out of contention. So it's relatively close, but it's meh. Then we have Woozy v Sand, and the loser is out of playoffs. They are not in contention. If one of them wins, they need Timmy to win so Stein doesn't take their playoff spot. If Stein wins, they're out. Nothing they can do. Having more differential helps here, but they need Timmy to take this. Last but not least is Delphin v Bread. Both of them are out of playoff contention, but I think the game will be funny, so it'll be a good watch this week.
Well said, Dress Down. With that said, week 7 is going to have a lot of juice. Let's get into the coverage. Our first game of the week is going to be Bread versus Dolphin. Now, because both of these teams are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, there's no real juice around this, so we're not going to go too far into our coverage here. However, I got a bold prediction. I want everybody to look at his game results. So somebody brought up last week that he's been getting better and better. Last week he only lost by 1 against Woozy. That's a potential playoff team right there. Likewise, Dolphin's coming off a win, so he's definitely coming off his best performance as well. However, if you look at the X's and O's a little bit, I think that Bread can, and I think he will pull off the upset. And I've got him winning 2-0. Dress Down, who do you got winning this one?
Unfortunately, I do not agree with you. I think Delphin has a little bit more juice in the tank. I've got him winning 3-0 because I think like that Brett has matchup even looking at it, but I expect Bread to rather than be like, yes, I have matchup. I will play according to my advantage and secure wins. Instead, he is like, yes, I will bring Ditto and it will not do anything. And then I will bring physical attacking 252 Adamant Chansey with Body Slam, but I will not bring Serene Grace. And then, or at the very least, he didn't quite do that last week. He still had an attacking Chansey, but he didn't. Last week was a better showing, but I just feel like we've got an opportunity, one last hurrah for him to shoot himself in the foot, is what I'm anticipating. Brett, I am sorry, prove me wrong, but you've got, I've got plenty of examples of you doing it. So I'd say Delphin 3-0, because if he's got a good sense of the game, last week's win against Circle was impressive.
Alrighty, make sure to tune in. Week 7, the throw-off.
And yes, even for you, Kakarot.
One of the Earth's greatest warriors has vanished in a blinding flash of light, having made the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of his loved ones. His name was Vegeta, a proud Saiyan prince.
Okay, so as we said from the playoff briefings, we know that Air Chomp needs to win this by like 5 or 6-0 in order to have any chance whatsoever into making it into playoffs. Good news for him, though, is that this is a matchup he can probably win 5 or 6-0. And not even just because it's Beast on the other side, because I think this really, really favors his team going into this. Firstly, I don't see a single Greninja switch in on Beast's side beyond something cursed like AV Tatsugiri and like Max Spadef Umbreon, which kind of limits the team against the rest of what Eric has to offer. In particular, I think Ting Lu is insane here. In particular, I don't think a single Mon on this team actually wants to face Ting Lu. And of what's there, the stuff that kind of threatens it a little bit, like Tatsugiri, like a choice specs Tatsugiri. You notice I'm thinking that Tatsugiri is very important this game. Maybe like Terra Ice, Sandy Shocks, Terra Ice, Gengar, which you notice these are not common sets. Even like High Jump Kick, Life Orb, or Banded Cinderace. Ting Lu sets up rocks, it clicks Terra Poison, and now that matchup is flipped on every single one of those mons. And so I think between the Greninja offensive pressure, the Ting Lu defensive backbone, and then I think stuff like Alola has a real chance of being good here. Rotom Heat is just a good defensive answer and pivot. And then like Veluza or Venomoth as a late game sweeper. I have Eric taking this 5-0. Otherwise, I think Beast maybe, if he makes moves, I think if he brings weird sets, he has a chance of at least bringing the differential down here and making so the loss isn't as bad. Sorry, Beast. I think a good Tatsugiri set would go a long way here. I think, honestly, I would love to see Choice Specs trick Terra Ice Gengar. It's not what we would call standard or viable, but I think you saw in my game against Eric how vulnerable his team is to trick, and I don't think a single one Mon on this team beyond Greninja and Rotom Heat, which are not really wanting to switch into the Gengar, no Mon on this team really wants specs. So take advantage of the fact that he's got 8,000 bulky walls that you can disable over the course of the game and just start chipping away with them, doing consistent damage. And I think that gives you something of a path. I think Tinkaton's terrible here. I wouldn't bring it. Cinderace, Sandy Shocks, Gengar, Tatsugiri, Umbreon, Flamigo, I think is 6. And I think that kind of, or some number, that's 7, but some number therein, I think is the best set that you could bring together, but still have Eric taking it 5-0. What do you think, Lou?
So I have the same end result, Air Chomp taking it 5-0. I have a little bit different of an angle for him getting there. So you brought up with Air Chomp's team, the only real speed control is the Greninja. So Greninja has a 122 speed stat, and he's going to be able to outpace everything that I have Beast projected to bring. But most notable, because Air Chomp has Grimmsnarl, I expect Beast to lead off with Cinderace. But I wouldn't be surprised because of that if Air Chomp goes with a counter lead in Greninja. So Greninja's going to outspeed Cinderace by 3 speed points. So because of that, I have Cinderace coming scarfed. I've got Beast slapping an AV on Sandy Shocks. Flamigo coming with a band to try and break up those bulky dark types. Tinkaton coming mainly for its typing to also try and deal with the dark types and for its utility in bulk. Umbreon, similar angle needed for its typing and bulk, so I have it coming max defense. I have Gengar coming to narrow out the roster over Tatsugiri. I agree that Tatsugiri, probably without Terra, definitely deserves to come here. But I think that the way that Beast is going to have to play this game, I think he's going to have to send Gengar out there as bait to get one of these dark types in. Terra and predict a switch. And try and hit either Ting-Lu or Wo-Chen with Terra Ice. I have Air Chomp trying to put together a wide margin victory with Greninja Specs. Ting-Lu with an AV trying to do massive damage with its ground typing that will play here. Grimmsnarl is going to come with Light Clay. It's just going to be hesitant to come in and set up while Cinderace is still on the field. I think Beast learned the lesson the hard way last week. Veluza, I really like its matchup here. Not the fastest mon, usually requires setup. However, you can still exploit sharpness with the Scarf, and it's still going to hit pretty hard. I've got Rotom Heat coming, max defense, potentially getting some status off, and then Wo-Chen I have coming as the Terra Poison. I think if it doesn't end up Terraing, Ting-Lu is a very likely option, but to have two of the Ruins Mons as your defensive core isn't bad. I think all in all, Air Chomp's going to be bobbing and weaving, knowing that he deliberately needs to play for differential here. I also expect him to try and book this match later on Sunday, so that he's going to see exactly how many kills he needs in the differential. This way he can adjust, how ambitious he wants to be. But I think you and I have it the same way. We both have Air Chomp winning. It's just a matter of by how many kills and whether or not it's going to be enough. So.
Yeah.
What we're doing here is a righteous act, gentlemen. You hear me, Gordo?
Mm-hmm.
There's a Bible verse I think about sometimes. Many times. It goes, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
All right, next up we've got Blottle versus Drew. Drew's over here with 2-4 record, -7 differential. He's on the ropes. On the other side, Blottle's got a 20 differential and a 5-1 record, and he's arguably going for first place in the division if Dress Down can pull out a win against Copy this week. So there's an incentive for him to really pour it on and not just beat Drew this week, but try and go for first place in the division. I don't know though. To me, I think Drew can make this a game if he cares enough to seriously build here. But we've been seeing with his builds, they're pretty repetitive. I've got Drew bringing a really interesting Roaring Moon set, so it's still going to use booster energy. However, it all revolves around jaw lock. So he's going to try and lock something in place. I think there's a couple of things that he can try this on Blottle's roster. biggest one being Bronzong. So you lock the Mon in, you get your setup up, and you try and sweep. Then I have him bringing Slow King with a Rocky Helmet, along with some physical bolt. Don Fan is coming for hazard control. Cloyster is coming for shell smash access when conditions are set. Rotom Fan will come with both T-Wave and Willow. And then Klefki is going to come with a light clay set that also includes foul play. Blottle, I have him bringing a defensive Sableye, specs on Kilowattrel, which has given him good value thus far. Bronzong to get up screens with light clay, Great Tusk, rapid spin, bulk up, setup. It's going to be a little bit limited if you go that set though, but I think he does need it to set up. Arcanine I have coming and not coming into the game until late because it's going to come banded to crack a wall. And then Azumarill with Belly Drum. All in all, though, I think Blottle is going to be a lot more invested in the team building side of the house, and I think he's going to win 3-0. But Dress Down, you have something similar, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking, honestly, it's probably going to be Blottle 4-0. And my reason for that is because I just don't know what Drew does against a lot of what Blotto has. And so I originally looked at this matchup, and I really didn't have Blotto winning by that much for the simple fact that I think Drew has really good Great Tusk answers. I think Slowking is a fantastic Great Tusk answer. Even with knockoff, it does really good work. Even just like Culverberry Slowking is very, very standard max defense, and it takes Great Tusk to the end of the moon. And even, Terra Ground Great Tusk does not help so much in that situation against the Slowking. So it just clicks the Water Stab. It never has to worry about it. Same thing the Dawn Fan does pretty well. The Rotom Fan switches into both stabs. You'd have to bring Weird Ice Spinner, which I don't think it has room for. And it can just click Will-O-Wisp. And even the Titan, the Cloyster, he's just got a lot of options that pressure the Great Tusk. So I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I don't think this is actually that good for Blotto. And then I looked at it a little further and I went, what does Drew have for Azumarill? I don't know if he has much of anything for Azumarill specifically. He can bring, I think he's got two really viable options here. One is Choice Band, one is Belly Drum. And the reason for that is he's got to break the Slowking somehow. But I think Azumarill is extremely potent this week because nothing that swaps into which we got into a liquidation swaps into a play rough. Slowking just takes liquidation. Choice Band Adamant Play Rough is a 2-hit KO. It's not even close. It's like a 70% 2-hit KO. Klefki does. Dawn Fan doesn't take liquidation. Primeape doesn't take Play Rough. Rotom Fan can eat one hit and outspeed, but it also takes a ton of damage from Banded Aqua Jets, and also it can't take either hit. It can just force Azumarill out offensively. Flareon can't take either. Titan barely even takes either. And Poltegeist and Cloyster I don't think are coming just because I don't think Drew has relied very much on those mons throughout this season. So the Azumarill's nuts. The Kilowattrel's nuts because the only mon that swaps into both stabs is Rotom Fan. So again, we see the team kind of centering around Rotom Fan. And then if Blotto manages to position well with mons, let's say maybe I wouldn't be surprised to see offensive Zoroark coming. I wouldn't be surprised to see mons like Bronzong coming. And if he's able to, get rocks up, provide consistent pressure on the team in the mid game, I see space for Azumarill or Kilowattrel to sweep, or even Great Tusk to clean up after some of its checks have gone down. I think if Drew gets out of it, it is with something like Jawlock, Roaring Moon, as he said, setting up on something like the Bronzong. That would be a scary situation, but other than that, I have Blottle taking it, A, on team, and B, on, as you were saying, I think, mental involvement and readiness with the league. Drew played really well against me last week, even though it was a whole journey of a game there. But I think he might be feeling maybe a little tired with Mons currently, last game of the season when you're nearly out of playoffs. Whereas I think Bladel is riding the high of a really good season right now. So I have Bladel taking it 4-0.
Agreed. I think that Drew has the ability to win. I think the linchpin for it, though, will be his Slowking set. It's just like you said, though. I think he's kind of checked out. So.
Bravo 6, come in. Bravo 6, what's your status? What the hell happened? The ship's sinking! We've got to go now! Bravo 6, come in, damn it!
Big Bird, this is Bravo 6. We're on our way out. On your feet, soldier! We are leaving! Get to the catwalk! Move, move, move!
Move your asses! Come on, let's go!
All right, next up, we have a likely playoff winning in scenario here. We've got Inner Warrior versus Braves. Now, I'm not really going to go too much into Braves team here because I think that Inner Warrior totally controls the tempo of this game with one mon and one mon only. And that's going to be Dragonite. So I think that Inner Warrior leads this game with a Lumberry old school Dragonite build, but now he's got Terra Normal on top of it. Comes with a Jolly Nature, so that it outspeeds after one Dragon Dance. It'll outspeed Flutter Mane. It gets a Dragon Dance off. Has Thunder Punch, E-Speed, and Earthquake for coverage. And at this point, he's in the driver's seat. It really just matters what does Braves want to sack to ultimately bring down this Dragonite set. After that, I have Deviko bringing Caesar banded so that he can hit Flutter Mane. For Giraffe, I have coming here with AV. Luxray I have making an appearance, the only mon on Inner Warriors roster that still hasn't been in a game yet. I actually really like it here, using agility with guts over intimidate. And then Heracross I have bringing Moxie over guts, and it's coming Scarf. Lucario coming with a Scarf and Inner Focus. Braves. If Inner Warrior brings something suboptimal, Braves has a chance. I think that he's going to bring Pelipper and Barraskewda, Flutter Mane, Breloom, Crocodile, and Bisharp. But I really think that this is Inner Warrior's game to lose. I ultimately have Inner Warrior winning this 4-0. And after a roller coaster season, putting to rest the Crazy Braves narrative until the Duos tournament. How do you see it dressed down?
More or less the same. A couple different things. Firstly, I agree Dragonite looks nuts here. I was thinking more of a probably just like a long-term, like a slower set of, namely, EQ, Dragon Dance, Extreme Speed, Terra Normal with maybe Roost. I think it has room for it.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that can be effective here is just, I guess a lot of it depends on how Flutter plays. Because of that scenario that you've envisioned, where we've got the Dragonite turn 1, and sorry to maybe steal thunder from Inner Warrior here, but like if Braves finally, for the first time this season, brings booster energy speed Flutter Mane, that set no longer works. He can swap in, he takes 1, and then he has the I guess if he Terra Normals, then he can't Moonblast, and through multi-scope. Oh, this looks really ugly. This looks really ugly. Because especially like Sucker Punch Bisharp doesn't outspead, which about Extreme Speed. Breloom does not outspeed Extreme Speed, even though the Mach Punch offers a lot of damage. And just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I want Braves to win this in my heart of hearts, because I want Braves to have the Cinderella story of this season. You know, crazy Braves bringing ridiculous sets,
right.
Max HP Barraskewda, and making the dream happen. And I just don't know. I don't know if he has matchup here. The reason for that is because a lot of this team's offensive pressure is baked into its rain mode, and it's baked into Flutter Mane. And this is the worst Flutter Mane matchup I have ever seen, despite the fact that he drafted the Pyroar. You don't even need Pyroar to beat Flutter Mane here. Just because Bullet Punch the Scizor offers the clean OHKO on non-Terra Blood Flutter Mane until the end of time. And whatchamacallit, what was another mon that I was looking? Oh yeah, Tyranitar is a fantastic Flutter Mane check as well. If you, just in a lot of ways, it being a ghost type switch in with the special defense boost, you can bring AVT-Tar and it handles even specs Flutter Mane. So options that you have just to mitigate most of Braves' offense. And then from there, Clawitzer actually is a really good check to a lot of the it's like Winter Warrior's bringing the Clawitzer. He loves the Clawitzer. It's his best friend. Why would you bring the 3-point Luxray when you can bring the 2-point Clawitzer? And it checks Barrascuda Rain pretty well if he brings it defensively. And it does a decent job against Pelipper and Dreadnought as well, while providing that consistent offensive switching pressure throughout the game. I think Breloom is pretty good here, except for the fact that Hat is, I actually run Breloom in OU sometimes, and Hatterene is like a consistent bane to its existence, because beyond like loaded dice, Bullet Seed, a Hat switches into Spore, and it switches into Mach Punch, and it switches into close combat. So I want Braves to bring some funky set, because I think Inner Warrior tends to lose if he doesn't know what sets people are bringing, or he gets thrown off of the set, he gets thrown off of the scent. And if any player in the league is set up to do that, it's Braves. But if Braves does not manage to do that, or if his set is suboptimal for the week, and Inner Warrior just plays matchup, he has it. So I'm going to say about 2-0. 2-0 Inner Warrior. 1-0, 2-0 Inner Warrior. Not by a ton, but by enough to maybe cinch that playoff spot if all the stars align.
I just don't know how he's going to get crafty enough Braves to really regain the tempo. I think he would have to go so far out of the ordinary, like potentially jump up with an encore set, trying to catch Dragonite.
Maybe, but it's not faster after +1 because It's not Prankster, it's not Whimsicott. It's like maybe like Dragon Dance Iron Thorns early. Because it resists it's neutral to Scissor Bullet Punch, and it resists extreme speed from both Dragonite and the Lucario, and it's got really clean damage on most of the team with, it's got Ice Punch, I know it's got that, it's got EQ, and maybe the electric coverage is just a general neutral. Actually, you want Rock Blast to hit most everything on the team, and with that, like maybe he can get some kills, force off Inner Warrior's offensive.
With the multi-scale Mon, but...
Yeah, exactly. They defaulting it, so you don't even need Ice Punch.
So you're spending off a Terra Bug right at the beginning of the game.
Right. Well, it's like I feel like this is actually a pretty good opportunity for him to get use out of Terra Bug, just to negate, because I think of all of the teams in this league, Braves has gone for his Terra the least number of times. Like, there are some teams that are Terraing every game, and there are some teams that don't Terra, and Braves is one of them. And I maybe Iron Thorns comes and makes something of this. I don't think Bisharp is bad here either, especially as like just making Fargiraff's life terrible. And like giving answers to stuff like, the Hat, giving answers to stuff like, not even good answers to cities, but something. Just, he's got to step out of his comfort zone for this one. He's got to make some weird stuff happen. I wish him the best of luck, but I think the season might come to an end here.
I think so too. I think that Bisharp does play here with the Eviolite, and that's what I have ultimately using the Terra Bug. I just don't know when he's going to be able to get into it cleanly. All in all, though, we both have big Inner Warrior win, and we'll see the champ back in the playoffs with a chance to defend his title.
I didn't do it!
Okay. Everybody just calm down.
Count of 3, we're all gonna put down our guns.
I have crossbows.
We'll put down our weaponry on the count of 3.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so we've got one of our, I think, more important games of this series, which is going to be Little Timmy versus Stein here. And I think this is Stein's game to win, just on raw matchup alone. Firstly, his team has gone from, at the beginning of the season, very mid, to gets the Greninja, okay, it's decent. Now it has the Annihilate. And I now think the team is like fully in playoff mode. I think this is a team that's a real playoff contender. And I think it's going to prove itself in this first matchup this week. Namely, I don't actually see a very obvious path for victory for Timmy here. And the reason for that is because, firstly, Iron Moth 2-hit KOs this entire squad with the exception of Paldea Fire Tauros with an AV. And that's pressured by a lot of the rest of the team, namely Neuvern and Screamtail, who do a lot of work cleaning up, checking that mon. So my objective would be with Stein is have Neuvern, which are caught, and Screamtail pressuring stuff early. Screamtail is passing wishes, spreading paralysis, weakening the team, chipping at Corviknight, gets rocks up. And then from there, you've got two options to sweep. One, you have, I think, Taunt, that honestly, like the set that Eric never managed to run, the Taunt, Bulk Up, Annihilate set, seems to put in a huge amount of work here. It outspeeds the Guldango baseline. So, which I got, and it can take, with Rage Fist, I think even with one boost, it probably OHKOs. It just beats Dondozo straight up. It doesn't beat Hydreigon, but that's something that you try to get rid of early stage. It beats Hippo. I think the rest Annihilate beats Rotomo, which is really interesting if you bring Special Defense Investment. It definitely beats the Tauros, even with Wisp, if you bring Rest. Cyclizar is an Unmon. If you get a Bulk Up or 2 up, it beats Mimikyu. And it just does really, really consistent, strong damage against the rest of the team. If you can get it going, especially if you're baiting weak attacks into the Annihilate to get the Rage Fist boosts, and then maybe Wish Passing with Screamtail seems very 3 to 4 mons with the Annihilate, you just clean up with Moth at the end game. And I don't know what Timmy has to contest that. Hydreigon looks amazing here. And preserving Hydreigon and getting really strong like Draco Meteors off against the team, Dark Pulses off against the team, maybe a Scarf or Spec set seems really valuable, especially with that Terra Steel. And maybe like Choice Scarf Guldango with like Terra Steel Make It Rain. Maybe see some play here, trying to do some of that inverse chip. But Dondozo looks awful this week. This might be the worst Dondozo matchup I have ever seen, because Iron Moth 2-hit KOs it no matter what, and then until Taunt, Bulk Up, Annihilate just feeds off of it and gets Rage Boosts. Hippo doesn't look good either for the same reason with the Iron Moth. Even if it, Corviknight just sits up on it and gets rocks forever. Rotomo looks pretty good here. Still loses to the Iron Moth, but it's a good pivot mid-game. Paldea and Tauros Blaze has to come. It is the only Iron Moth switch in on this team. It 100% must come this week. Probably especially bulky. I think Mimikyu looks pretty nice. I didn't think about it. I didn't think this at first, but then I looked back and talked with Lou. And I think just an offensive Mimikyu set to threaten Shadow Sneak in late game, and then to put pressure on offensively to start breaking holes can do pretty well. But I also think there's space for, if he wants it, to bring Aurora Veil Abomasnow, just to mitigate some of Stein's attempts to break holes in the mid-game and allow Timmy to maybe break some holes. That might be useful. Or even Tailwind Murkrow if he really wants to commit to an offensive perspective. Instead of running like Scarf Guldango Terra Steel, he now runs Specs Guldango Terra Steel with the Tailwind, and then just starts breaking holes. Like, he's got options, but I think Stein takes this 2-0. That's my read on the situation, just on raw matchup, and we'll see what a Stein playoff run looks like. Lo, do you want to add to that?
Absolutely. So I see it very similarly, where I think it's Stein's game to lose in terms of matchups. If you're talking narrative here, Stein really needs this game. He's sitting at a 0 differential and an even 3-3 record. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Thomas has the best differential in the league at 24, and he's got a perfect 6-0 record. So I'll be honest, I don't think that he's in the lab cooking up with his brother all that much for this matchup. I think he's cooking up to help his brother get into the playoffs, not really for this. Who just joined? No.
Oh my God. Hello. So you're only 3 hours late. Welcome. Nice to see you.
You're joining us in the middle of Stein versus Little Timmy.
He's in the shower.
I see a critter.
The critter? Yes, this is good. She's awful. She's been making noise the whole video.
How are you guys holding up so far? Wait, are you recording right now?
Nick, we are mid-recording.
Yes.
Oh.
We were in the middle of, Stein v. Timmy, yes.
Yeah, well, you know what happened? Timmy set me back, man. Timmy, he stole my past Pokemon. And, he really just... I got humbled real quick.
You've got a playoff chance if you win this week. And I think you've got...
You do.
I think you've got matchup against Woozy. I'm pretty sure. Like Stein has to lose, but if you win, I think you've got a shot here.
Oh, Woozy's. I'm not even. Dude, I haven't looked at it yet. I'm not gonna lie to you, but Woozy,
You have matchup.
not have like
no.
What the hell is Quabacoil due to Claude?
No,
Well,
I think
Paratype water.
Yeah.
No, his Terra type is water. I think funny, like Clodsire with water absorb beats every single mon on that team besides Dragapult. So that'll be exciting.
And then Dragapult, he can't beat Prosciutto.
Pursuits, we don't. Do we have cut moves in this league?
No.
I don't think we did because it's Gen 9 decks. But anyway, we were in the middle of Stein v Timmy.
How much
Yes.
is that stack take from a Draco? Probably a lot. Probably a fuck ton.
Yeah.
Nick,
I mean, if you put
wanna
your cover
stick around,
and you're
we're starting to get into the serious games that would really benefit from your coverage.
What's the Stein match? You guys talk.
Okay, so I was in the middle of. I had already. I don't even know where the heck I left off. So I'm gonna have to take it from the beginning here. So Stein versus Thomas. I was talking about how I think me and Dressdown both think that Stein has this matchup and he really needs to win this game more. So he's gonna be a lot more invested. We love the addition of Annihilate on this team. Have it coming with bulk up. I know Dressdown talked about that. You were saying how Eric didn't benefit enough from bulk up taunt. I can see that coming here. Iron Moth, we've seen of late Stein using the agility booster energy set to great success. Corviknight, I like here with a Rocky helmet. I like Pawmot with a scarf, specifically to counterplay Hydreigon. I like Noivern in this matchup. Stein clearly likes it. He's brought it all 6 weeks so far. I think it's speed tier plays in this matchup. So because of that, I think he's going to play it with Specs and pivot in and out of it, along with Frisk. And then the Dunsparce is a mon that's going to sit on the sidelines for a while, and it's going to cause the DeVico brothers to take like 5 to 10 minutes a turn trying to guess the set. And then when it comes in, their entire prep is going to be melted down. So the Dunsparce set that the DeVico brothers are never going to see coming is the following: Agility, Life Orb, Boom Burst, Calm Mind, Roost, the Dunsparce. It's going to be pretty nasty.
Does it Guldengo just sit on that forever?
Well, you still have space for one more move at that point.
And Stored Power is the move that's set once, but Guldengo resists that hit.
I think, honestly, I was thinking about Thunderbolt for Dondozo to close out that set.
Right, because it's unaware. Yeah, T-Bolt. Okay.
Then on Thomas's side of the spectrum, I don't know how he's playing Dondozo. I thought about Hippodon for a second, but last second I swapped Hippo out with Murkrow, the hero of last week. Kind of like fell into a win there, but I have it coming with special defense investment now with Tailwind. So no sleep talk shenanigans. Tailwind support. Goldengo's coming scarfed, although Goldengo's just suboptimal in this matchup. Same thing with Dondozo. I thought about the Dondozo set for a bit. Ultimately, because Stein has such a special, he's got a lot of special threats. I've got Dondozo coming with an AV, very out of the ordinary. Perhaps he can hit something with super effective damage when they're expecting a curse. I've got Hydreigon coming as the Terramon with Scarf. Mm-hmm. And then the only two mons that I know, Dressdown, you like these two mons in this matchup, and I like them too. I like Mimic You here, Life Orb, Drain Punch, and then I like Tauros Fire with the AV that you're already talking about. I think it's been a great story. I just can't see Thomas going into the playoffs with a perfect record. Stein just has matchup here, so I think Stein pulls it off. I think he takes one of the final playoff spots, and then Thomas better hope and pray that these two don't cross paths again in the playoffs, because it's just a really bad matchup for his team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks just fine to me. How about you, doctor?
Oh, I'll take it from here, nurse. How about your foot? Like that. Everybody. Help me, please. You will have nothing's gonna hurt me.
All right, so next up we have a battle between two teams that are all but locks for the playoffs here, between Circle and Manny. I have Manny bringing Skeledirge here with an AV set. I've got Glamora coming with a Suicide Lead, and I expect him to put a premium on setting up hazards here, because I don't see Reveroom coming for Circle. To absorb the toxic spikes on switching. I've got Doc Spun, however the heck you say that thing, coming as the hard counter for Chi Yu. Expecting that Chi Yu is going to come with a Scarf. I've got Weavile getting a lot of value here as a Terra Fighting option for Manny. Scarfed, so that it can outpace an anticipated Scarf Chi Yu, and being that Chi Yu has such, I think it's like 120.
It's like 50-60. Yeah, physical defense. It's really bad.
You got to hit it physically. So fighting Terra Blast on Weavile, Oko's Chi Yu. Gastrodon I have coming mainly as a special defensive pivot. Iron Valiant gets a lot of value here as well as a mixed attacker. So I like it with booster energy for speed. And then I think it needs close combat for the Chi Yu. And then it needs Moon Blast for Salamence if it's not in Terra Fairy. And then I got Circle bringing Torkoal with Heat Rock, so I can provide support to Slitherwing and Chi Yu. I've got Chi Yu, as I said earlier, coming as a Salamence, Terra Fairy, Intimidate, AV. Slitherwing, Jolteon with Specs, and then I've got an interesting Gardevoir set. So it's going to come with Booster Energy and Trace. Trying to anticipate one of these Paradox Mons. What is it going to do? I don't know. I really thought I would get that one in there. Oh shit, who's coming? Is it Sand again?
It's definitely Nick. Yep.
What's going on, Nick?
Showing this like shot right at the hairline. Yes.
All right, so before Nick cuts us off, with all of those sets said, I've got Manny pulling off a 2-0 win, and both of these teams making the playoffs and potentially making noise. How do you see it, Didi?
Yeah, so the first thing I noticed looking at this match is that Booster Energy, Terra Fighting, Mixed Valiant looks absolutely disgusting. I think it offers 2-hit KOs on the entire squad with the exception of Terra Fairy Chi Yu.
Say that again.
Yeah, totally. So I think Iron Valiant with Booster Energy, Speed, Terra Fighting, mixed destroys most of this team. I think it's a 2-hit KO on every single mon, with the exception of Terra Fairy Chi Yu, which I think is super viable this week, actually. because it also gives it a path past Dakshbun, who I think is coming max special defense, and I think Chiyu. I think there's a decent chance it comes specs just to break stuff early game and hope that some of the other mons can hold off Valiant. I don't know. I don't think this game is like particularly complicated because I think Circle benefits in a lot of ways when his teams have the ability to flex and be a little strange or different. I don't think his current squad has that ability to flex. But I also think it has to flex in order to have a win con past Manny's just huge advantage with Valiant here. He needs to find some way to either chip the Valiant or to make it so Manny doesn't chip him and his walls enough that Valiant just comes in and sweeps. His usual answers in like Slitherwing doesn't outspeed Valiant if Valiant's booster energy speed, which it 100% will be. He can maybe be like Scarf Slitherwing in the sun, but that's cursed, so I don't know if he'll do it. And first impression is I think 4x resisted by Valiant, so it's never killing. I really like the Gardevoir, just to mention that from earlier, Lou, the booster energy trace set, because all you have to do is swap in on Valiant with Gardevoir, because Valiant will kill something, or even Iron Jugulus. And then it's really funny. I don't know.
Trace booster energy.
Sorry?
I don't think you could trace or doodle a booster energy. Double check, because I was trying to do that against him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably, we'll run a mock just to check if that's how that implementation works, or if there's something on the Bulbapedia page about booster energy and how photosynthesis works. But, well, anyway, it would be cool if it worked, but like I don't really see Glamora gets funny hazards up, so I see maybe heavy duty boots Torkoal seems viable here because it's not like the sun is fantastic for this squad. It's just I think like a lot of Circle's offensive mons get super pressured by what Manny has. If Cloth got Shell Smash, maybe I would see it as a viable mon coming, but it doesn't. It just gets Anger Shell, which is Shell Smash, but shittier. So I don't know if it's coming, and it's not even good necessarily as like a... It might be decent as a regen mon, honestly, because it kind of checks Dirge, Glamora, and Iron Jugulus, which otherwise give this team problems. But I don't know, Circle might surprise me, but the matchup looks bad. I don't see a way out for him. I see Manny taking this 2-3-0. So,
Nick, do you have any angle on this game?
Yeah, totally. As someone who has lost to both, and most people in the division at this point by one month. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Circle, I think, beat me by the most anybody has beat me this season, which was 2 mons. Would have been 1 if Gunk Shot hit. So that's how my season's been going, right? Dirge, Valiant, Glamora. It's just hell. I really like. He has such a bad matchup too because Manny literally drafted the Dash Bun to counter wherever the Chiyu went. So like, he has it. He's gonna bring it. Like the only way Chiyu could do anything is if it's Terra Fairy.
Right.
Or if Circle pulls some shit out of his ass, which he very likely can. He's good at that. But I honestly, man, like this is a strong Manny matchup. However, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything on recording. Circle's got a puncher's chance. He always does. Like DD said, when he's got versatility, when he's got flex options, he'll make it work. Doesn't too much with this team, but I think Circle might make it close. I think it might be surprising. Yeah, but Manny's I don't even. If that Valiant gets off,
oof, right. Or like if it happens late game, the Valiant's at full HP, stuff's been chipped, it's done. The game is over.
Especially booster speed. I don't think he has anything that could outspeed it.
So
he's got the first impression, and like that's it.
His first impression sucks against Valiant. Let me run the calc. But like,
and he's Terra-fighting too, right?
He's Terra-fighting.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's not very good.
Right.
The only thing I can think of, if you had Leafeon as a chlorophyll option.
But it sucks against Dirge. I think it lost knockoff, so it has nothing to hit it.
Yeah, that Dirge is a demon.
Yeah, which we're caught. 252 Protosynthesis Choice Band Adamant Slitherwing against 0 defense Valiant is a 40% chance to 3-hit KO.
Oh my god.
Like it's not an option.
You're just gonna have to scarf flare but shit and hope Manny didn't bring speed boosting.
Yeah, but like speed boost is the most obvious bringer of the season here. I feel like it really, really helps. And also, it's like I'm pretty sure Dirge just takes that. I'm pretty sure Dirge takes that and doesn't even give a shit. I'm pretty sure Glamora even takes that.
Valiant is so strong though, and with Terra fighting, it can go physical really, really, really well. Like when I was prepping for it, I thought he's guaranteed to bring Life Orb mixed or speed boosting set. And I thought like special was very good into me because I have way too much defensive versatility.
Mm-hmm.
He literally just brought choice band Terra fighting and smacked through everything anyway. So like it really like that it's hard. Base 130 attack with the 120 base power move and Terra fighting, like he's gonna break through your defensive walls anyway. You can't switch into that.
Right, and it's like Salamence dies too. Even if it's, I don't think he's gonna run Bandit because Salamence takes 2. But Moonblast just finishes it off. Like Salamence can swap in and then you die. Right, so it doesn't. It doesn't.
He's gonna have to have like a bunch of Scarfers or some weird.
Funky
Again,
tech.
he's Circle. He'll figure something out. Like if he could get a T-Wave off on something, then maybe set up a DD. You know.
If he T-Waves the Valiant, the game might actually go in his favor. I just don't know how the fuck he's going to T-Wave the Valiant.
But also, it's Circle, and he's sacrificed a Shiyu to a T-Wave. Was it 2 times now? 3 times now? Every loss he had, he sacrificed his Shiyu to a T-Wave. So I don't know.
All right, so I think we all pretty much have it. It looks like a Manny matchup.
Huh.
Is this what you want? Is this what you want? I love you. Come on, Mickey, come home. Just come home. Home. Talk to me. Nicholas, talk to me.
Ha!
Mickey. Wait a minute. What's through to your arms? Mickey, you remember the trees? Remember all the different ways in the trees? Remember that? You remember? Huh? The mountains? You remember all that? One shot. One shot. One shot. Yeah.
This is a big week. This is a big week for me. It's a big week for Woozy. It's a big week for Manny. Actually, he's probably gonna take the sticks. But listen, you guys started in the chat. Timmy's that guy. He's not gonna toss this up. He could easily just forfeit this week. I think lock in his 1 seed. If Manny still loses, and yeah, he doesn't need to win this week at all. But he cares about it. He really wants this shit. I don't think he has matchup at all. But he wants it. He's gonna try. And you know why? Because after Timmy wins this week, he's gonna play one of me or Manny and Woozy. And that's what we're talking about right now. And honestly, Woozy, I have nothing against you winning this week. I actually see us in an alliance right now. I think that this right here is a friendly exhibition, and whoever wins takes down the undefeated demon. We all know that you can't go undefeated in the regular season and win the first round of the playoff. We've seen it twice now. Is it Didi and then Eric?
I think so.
It's not going to persist. There's only one way he could beat us all, and it's not going to happen a second time. That said, we're not going to beat him, Woozy. You're not going to beat him, Manny, either. Design. I think I got the team. Garganackle's going to be an issue, but I got the little thing, and he's better. He's got higher defenses. So something you do. Quaviquel can't touch Claude. I mean, nothing could touch Claude. The only thing that can touch Claude is a slow, whittling death with Garganackle, where I could just... And then that's not the case. I don't... Manny, you're the one that I'm really talking to here. Woozy's... He's the mech. You're inside of him. You're Shinji right now. Just understand, Manny, like... you may have beat me once with a jet punch roll. That's not gonna happen here. This right now is my Manny rematch, and I'm gonna take this real serious. I'm gonna prep more for this than I did any other match. And if I lose, it's gonna be because of a crit or an Terra. Nothing else could stop this momentum. And that's all. I'm going to leave the rest of you guys.
Didi, you want to hear or you want me to take it?
Oh my God. I mean, I can take it. I want to echo a lot of what Nick said. I mean, obviously, if he loses, it's because he got gimmicked. Obviously, there's no other explanation for it. But to be fair, he does realistically have matchup. The reason, he's right. Nothing touches Claude. He could run Covert Cloak Claude with, Water Absorb actually is more optimal this week. And, literally nothing touches it, with the exception of the Pult and the Mudsdale. Absolutely nothing comes in and messes with it. You could even run Shuka Claude if you really wanted to. But it's such a huge problem for this team. It just sits there and is fat and is an issue. Otherwise, I think Terragrass Volcarona cleans up this team really, really well. I think it hits every mod of note for super effective damage. Between having Psychic for the Pecs, I think that's important, Giga Drain for everything else, and probably Fire Move for the Magnezone. He likes to run Fiery Dance, so it'll probably be that. Quiver Dance late game, if he manages to keep the Pecs Toxic Spikes off with Claude, and he has to run Heavy Duty Boots because he doesn't have removal whatsoever other than that, I think it has a really good shot of cleaning up. He just needs to figure out how to get something onto the Pult, which means Prankster Grafii is going to be good as always. Just parting shot, especially given this team doesn't have a dark type. Oh my God, he could just click buttons with the Grafii like he's wanted to do all season. So parting shot shenanigans, encore shenanigans. It can just generally speaking, knock off against the Pulse. There's really good damage. I don't know. I like this matchup for him a lot. I think Lycanroc is terrible. I hope he doesn't bring it, but he still might. I think Palafin also has odds to have a really good matchup, especially given it can just taunt the Garganackle, and therefore it becomes an absolutely terrifying sweeper. It also beats the Mudsdale. And it beats a lot of Pult sets as well. And then if you probably just have Iron Hands, you could even run AV and just make it your Dragapult check, and then just have it break stuff down mid-game, along with the offensive presser for some of your other mons. I think he takes it, honestly. Unless he gets crit, obviously, or unless he decides to bring something stupid, like Bombardier or something, I'm not sure. It's actually really funny looking at this matchup. We commented earlier, if Woozy still had the Espathra, Sandy would be getting 6-0'd. As is, he does not have the Espathra, and I managed to sway him into trading the Garganackle. So therefore, I think Sandy has this 3-0. And we'll see if that's enough for a playoff spot if little Timmy decides that he's going to beat Stein this week. Lou, do you disagree?
So ultimately I have Sands winning 1-0. However, I don't think that Claude Sire is the big bad wolf that you guys are making it out to be. I think...
it's so good here.
It is, but that's with the understanding that you're expecting Dragapult to come here as a special attacker. It has a higher attack stat. I think that Dragon Darts, it's going to be leaning on Dragon Darts spam. So Sand has 0 fairy types. Dragapult without a Scarp on any other mon is going to be the fastest mon on the field. I just put a band on it and clicked nothing but Dragon Darts. Other than
he doesn't
that,
even have a steel type, actually. Yeah.
I like Espeon here for Woozy, and I think that helps him mitigate Claude Sire as well. So Specs kind of goes crazy here. Garganackle, I like as the Terra Watermon for Woozy. And I like it with an iron body press set. Toxapex coming as a physical defense option with Rocky Helmet. I'm going to attempt to say it again. Quaquaval, did I say it right?
Quable.
Okay, same shit. That's coming with a band.
Yep.
So once that gets going, if it gets a Moxie off after some Aqua Steps, potential sweeper.
It can't run band because of water absorb Quag.
Right, so it would have to come in as a late game. Something out of the ordinary I have coming is Raichu with Nasty Plot, Thunderbolt, Surf, and Draining Kiss. The regional form that had Psychic would have been perfect here. Unfortunately, it's not in the game. On the other side of the field, I got Nick bringing Bulk Up Palafin, a bulky Quiver Dance, Volcarona. Iron Hands with AV, I think gets great value here. That was probably the most intimidating mon to build against, other than that Clodsire. Bombardier I have coming here with a Scarf, and then Crocolore. I don't think Knucklesack comes this week, despite Garganacl being on the other side of the field. I think Crocolore comes with an Eviolite and Terra Grass. All in all, I think that with how Woozy's been playing, you guys all say Manny's behind the sticks. I really don't think Manny's behind the sticks. If you've been watching some of these losses, maybe Manny's behind the sticks for some of the games. He wasn't there last week against Brad. He wasn't there 2 weeks ago against Thomas. So I've got Sands winning 1-0 and ultimately potentially squeaking into the playoffs despite currently being 2-4. He's 2-4 and he has a positive 4 differential. So as much as I like to hate on the guy, he has had a couple of bad breaks. We'll see though. He needs.
He could very easily be. I think he could very easily be 4-2. Not much had to go differently for him to be 4-2 right now. So
last week was probably the worst one.
That differential will save him. Yeah.
Here he comes.
I haven't had a single real loss yet. Realistically, I'm 6-0 going into 7-0. I'm sick of this fucking Terra. There's too much variance for me. I can't deal with it. I liked Pokemon. It was the perfect middle ground between Mario Kart and chess. This is a little too Mario Kart right now. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with this. Get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Make people pay for it. Nacdex Dual Tourney.
DLC.
I'm coming for you.
With Terra.
Fuck, man. Shit. All right. Peace out. Peace out.
All right, last up, we've got the main event. We've got Dress Down versus the Little Ninja. Now, this game has a lot of juice. Copy's going for the perfect regular season. He's currently got a 6-0 record, positive 18 differential. However, none of that matters, because we're talking about Queen Dress Down making the playoffs here. So she was just telling me she doesn't necessarily need a win. However, a win will all but guarantee a spot in the playoffs. So let's go into the X's and O's. I've got Staraptor coming here. It's only come 3 times, only has 1 kill somehow, despite being a Mon in UU somehow. But I've got a weird Staraptor set. I've got Chesto Berry Rest, so that you can use Acrobatics over Brave Bird. Then I've got Iron Bundle. Don't laugh. I've got Iron
Have
Bundle.
you forgotten Staraptor's ability that boosts its damage off of recoil moves? Is that not, which is the reason it hits so hard? Has that not entered your calculus on Staraptor?
You can run Brave Bird as well, just don't kill yourself. Then I've got Iron Bundle coming with heavy duty boots. And no, I like Intimidate. I don't like Reckless. I've got Iron Bundle coming with heavy duty boots. King Gambit as the likely Terrifying. Coming with Swords Dance and then leftovers for the item. I've got Rocky Helmet on Slowbro. Max defense, max special attack. It's got a really good move pool to hit a lot of copies threats, namely Garchomp and Iron Treads. I've got Zarina. Zarina's come every single week. I don't expect it to sit with a playoff berth on the line. So with that said, I have it also coming with a strange set. Rapid Spin, Expert Belt, Adamant. And then for coverage, it's bringing Play Rough, High Jump Kick, and Power Whip. I've got Palo Sand coming as well. And it's coming with Blunder Policy Hypnosis. The calcs on this...
To boost its speed.
Yes. Okay. The calcs on this... just look at its speed. I think it's like 55, I want to say.
It's like 35.
35?
Yeah, it's not quick.
It's going to outspeed something that it shouldn't be with Blunder Policy Hypnosis. However, that's all moot. Because this is the win con right here. A Spathra with the Starf Berry. And for you guys that don't know what a Starf Berry does, when you're at a quarter health or lower, it gives you a +2 to a random stat. So if you potentially get +2 special attack, it plays. To a lesser extent, if you get +2 to a defense or a special defense, it'll also help. You just really don't want +2 regular attack, but even then it's not bad because it still helps your sword power. So to me, this is a win con once Low Kicks is off the field. It's all but a guarantee to get into this. The other thing you need to get out of the way is Sylveon. With Pixelate, it'll hit you behind screens. Behind your sub. So with Starf Berry, you're going to activate it with 3 substitutes. You're going to get 3 speed boosts. And between the 3 speed boosts and the +2, that should be more than enough to start popping off some stored powers and trying to sweep. On the other side of the field, I have Copy bringing Low Kicks with Adamant, Assault Vest, with max attack and max special defense. Now, the funny thing with this Low Kick set, it has a small OHKO chance versus bundle with Axe Kick off rip. However, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Hydro Pump on bundle is a dice roll for whether or not it 2 to 3 hits, and then you also have to factor it in missing. Garchomp I have coming with a tank set, and I think that's likely with Copy's playstyle. Iron Treads I have coming with a little bit out of the ordinary set, so I'm a really big fan of Heavy Slam. And I think if you bring it Adamant with Rapid Spin to set it up, and then you also have Life Orb, Heavy Slam, late game can act as a cleaner. Sylveon with Specs Modest. Specs Modest, max special attack, max HP as a potential Terrifier user. There's nothing that really wants to switch into it. Hyper Voice ideal, but Mystical Fire perhaps. Armarouge coming as an indoor weakness policy user. Amoonguss I have coming off meta as well. So Amoonguss is going to fake Spore, but really it's going to have AV on it, and it's going to have max special defense and max HP. However, the nature is going to be modest. So you're going to see you're going to see a Moongus, and let's say it lines up opposite of Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle is going to take 3 hits to kill this Amoonguss set with an Ice Beam. Whereas Giga Drain on this set is a 50% chance to OHKO at 100% health. All in all, I do like Dress Down winning, but I have Dress Down winning clutching with the Starfberry Espathra. I don't know what you think about those off-meta, out-of-the-blue sets. I don't know how much you're willing to give us on air, but what do you think, Dress Down?
Lou, I hope you never change. I really, really enjoy your ability to think of, like, I think if we made like a random Pokemon set generator on the internet, it would probably give less random sets than what you've consistently managed to deliver. But it's excellent. Otherwise, I mean, Copy, I think this will be a fun game, one way or the other. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to humble you a little bit going into the playoffs, I'm going to be honest. And I will not, I saw Stein's message in the Discord that I could forfeit and get my 0-3 and probably cinch a playoff spot, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play this out. We're going to see how it happens. I'm going to take this terrible team, which I picked and is nonetheless worse than the one I had last season that I just cobbled together out of sticks and stones and paper clips. We're going to see how this goes.
Alrighty.
All right.
So with that said, this is the last week of the regular season.
So you're cutting out a little bit. I'm able to really see you or hear you.
Okay. That should be fine for this point in the segment. Last week of the regular season. After this, we have playoffs. Open invite for anybody who wants to come on for the playoffs coverage. We're going to do it the same way as last season. So we'll go ahead. We'll see what time slot works for the most amount of people. I'll push it out there. We'll all be in the same Discord. It's pretty much just going to be like a one-shot take for all the matchups. It's going to be a little bit clunky for the first round. But in the semifinals and in the championship game, there'll be the opportunity to go a lot more in-depth. We had a pretty good turnout last season, so expecting to keep it rolling.